Jake Coleman wiped the sweat from his forehead as he bent over the microscope in his small laboratory. The research station, Meridian Prime, was always hot, especially in the science wing where all the equipment ran day and night. He had been studying alien plant samples for 3 hours straight, and his eyes were getting tired. The plants came from a moon orbiting the gas giant below them. They were strange things, with purple leaves that seemed to glow in the dark. Jake's job was to figure out if humans could eat them safely. It was boring work, but someone had to do it. A soft knock on his door made him look up. Jake frowned. Nobody ever visited his lab this late in the evening. Most of the other scientists had gone to bed hours ago. "Come in," he called out, pushing his chair back from the desk. The door slid open with a quiet hiss. Jake's mouth fell open when he saw who stood there. It was a Valerian, one of those crystal people from the other side of the galaxy. But this one looked different from the others he had seen. Valerians were usually tall and proud, with skin that sparkled like diamonds and crystal formations growing from their shoulders and arms. This one was tall too, maybe 6.5 feet, but her crystal formations looked broken. Her skin, which should have been bright and shining, was dull and gray. She wore a simple gray robe that covered most of her body. "Please," she said in broken English, "I need help." Jake stood up quickly, almost knocking over his chair. "Are you hurt? Do you need a doctor?" She shook her head. "No, doctor. You are Jake Coleman." "Yes, the human scientist. That's me." Jake studied her face. Valerians had features that looked almost human, except for the small crystal formations around their eyes and temples. This one's crystals were dark, not glowing like they should be. "What's your name?" "I am Zarakathal of the Third Crystal House." She took a step into his lab, then stopped. Her hands were shaking. "I am sorry to bother you so late, but I have nowhere else to go." Jake gestured to the only other chair in his small lab. "Please, sit down. You look upset." Zara moved carefully to the chair and sat down. Up close, Jake could see that she was young for a Valerian, probably the same age as him in human years. Her face was thin and tired, like she had not been sleeping well. "I know this will sound strange." She began looking down at her hands. "But I need you to marry me." Jake blinked. "I'm sorry. What? Please, let me explain." Tears started running down her face. When they touched her crystal formations, they made tiny rainbow patterns in the light. "My family has arranged a marriage for me to a male named Dex Morin. Arranged marriage? But you're an adult, right? Can't you just say no?" Zara's laugh was bitter. "You do not understand Valerian culture. Females have no choice in marriage. Our families decide for us. And Dex is ... double quotes." She shuddered. "He is cruel. He has had 2 wives before me. Both went insane. Insane how? Valerian marriage involves a mind bond. The male connects his thoughts to the female's thoughts. It should be gentle, a sharing of minds. But Dex Morin forces his way in. He takes over completely. His previous wives could not handle it. One killed herself. The other is locked away in a mental hospital." Jake felt sick to his stomach. "That's horrible. But I still don't understand how marrying me would help." Zara looked up at him with hope in her eyes. "There is one old law. If a Valerian female bonds with an alien before her arranged ceremony, the contract becomes void. The family cannot force the marriage. So you want to use me to get out of marrying this guy yet?" She reached into her robe and pulled out a small bag. When she opened it, Jake saw it was full of glowing crystals. "I can pay you. These energy crystals are worth a fortune to humans. Or I can give you Valerian technology, star maps to new worlds, anything you want." Jake stared at the crystals. They were probably worth more money than he would make in 10 years. But something about the whole situation bothered him. "Zara, I don't need your money, but tell me the truth. Is this really just about avoiding an arranged marriage? Or is there more to it?" She was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke very softly. "Dex Morin is not just cruel to his wives. He is cruel to everyone. He wants to control my work." "Your work?" "I am an engineer. I design starship engines. My latest design could make space travel much faster and safer. Dex Morin wants to use it for military purposes, to build warships that could attack other worlds." Now Jake understood. This was not just about saving one person from a bad marriage. It was about stopping dangerous technology from falling into the wrong hands. If I agree to this, he said slowly, what exactly would happen? How does Valerian marriage work with humans? The ceremony is simple. We would speak vows in front of witnesses. Then we would form a light psychic bond, not the deep connection that Valerians make with each other. Something gentler that humans can handle. Psychic bonds. You mean you would be able to read my thoughts? Not read them. Just sense your emotions, and you would sense mine. It is not uncomfortable. Many humans who have worked closely with Valerians describe it as pleasant. Jake rubbed his forehead. This was crazy. He had come to work today thinking he would spend the evening looking at purple plants. Now an alien woman was asking him to marry her, to save her from a monster. How long would this marriage last? He asked. Valerian law requires 1 full year before divorce is possible. But after that, we could end it whenever you wish, and you would be safe. This Dexmoran wouldn't try to hurt you. Once I am bonded to another, he cannot touch me. Valerian law forbids it. Jake looked at Zara's face. She was trying to be brave, but he could see the fear in her eyes. He thought about his own sister back on Earth. What would he want someone to do if she was in this situation? Okay, he said finally. I'll help you. Zara's eyes went wide. You will? Yes, but not for your money or technology. I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. Nobody should be forced into marriage with someone who will hurt them. Fresh tears ran down her face, but these were tears of relief. Thank you. Thank you so much. You do not know what this means to me. When do we need to do this ceremony? Soon Dexmoran arrives at this station in 3 days. We must be bonded before he gets here. Jake nodded. Then we better start planning. Do you know other Valerians here who would serve as witnesses? My younger brother Kex is here on the station. He opposes our family's political games. And there are 2 scholars in the research section who might help us. Good! I have friends who can be human witnesses. We can use the multi-faith chapel on level 7. Zara stood up and moved toward the door. Then she turned back to face him. Jake Coleman, I want you to know something. This marriage may start as a legal arrangement, but I promise to be a good wife to you for as long as it lasts. You are saving my life and possibly many others. I will not forget that. After she left, Jake sat alone in his lab for a long time. In 3 days, he would be married to an alien. He had no idea how his life had gotten so complicated so fast. But as he thought about Zara's frightened face and the evil man she was trying to escape, he knew he had made the right choice. Tomorrow, he would start planning the strangest wedding in human history. Jake could not sleep that night. He kept thinking about what he had agreed to do. Marriage to an alien seemed like something from a crazy dream, but Zara's frightened face was very real. When morning came, he was already dressed and ready to start planning. His first stop was the security office on level 3. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez was drinking coffee and reading reports when he knocked on her door. Amy was one of the few people on the station who Jake considered a real friend. She was tough, smart, and always willing to help. Jake, you look terrible, she said when she saw him. Did you sleep at all last night? Not much. Jake sat down across from her desk. Amy, I need to ask you something strange. Really strange. She raised an eyebrow. How strange are we talking? I need you to be a witness at my wedding. Amy nearly choked on her coffee. You're what, Jake? I didn't even know you were dating anyone. Who's the lucky girl? Her name is Zara. She's Valerian. Amy stared at him for a long moment. Then she started laughing. Okay, very funny. What do you really need? I'm serious, Amy. I'm marrying a Valerian woman in 2 days. The laughter died on Amy's face. Jake, are you having some kind of breakdown? Do you need to talk to someone? Jake spent the next 20 minutes explaining the whole situation. Amy listened without interrupting, her expression getting more serious with each detail. When he finished, she was quiet for a long time. So let me get this straight, she said finally. You agreed to marry an alien to save her from an abusive arranged marriage, and now you need witnesses for a ceremony that will create a psychic bond between your minds? That's about right. And you've known this woman for exactly 1 day. Less than 12 hours, actually. Amy rubbed her temples. Jake, this is insane. You could get in serious trouble. What if the Valerian authorities decide you kidnapped her or something? What if I don't help and she ends up dead or crazy? Amy, you should have seen her face. She was terrified. Amy looked at him for a long moment. Jake could see her thinking, weighing the risks and benefits. Finally, she sighed. Okay, I'll do it, but if we all end up in prison or start an interstellar war, I'm blaming you. Thank you. Jake felt a huge weight lift off his shoulders. I need to find one more human witness. Do you think Ben Parker would help? The botanist? Maybe. He's almost as crazy as you are. Jake's next stop was the botanical section. Dr. Ben Parker was a tall, thin man with wild gray hair who loved plants more than people. He was examining some kind of vine when Jake found him. Ben, I need a favor. Ben looked up from his plants. If it involves talking to people, the answer is no. It involves helping someone who really needs it. Still sounds like it involves people. Jake explained the situation again. Ben listened while he continued working with his plants, occasionally making small noises of interest. Fascinating, Ben said when Jake finished. A human-Valerian psychic bond. Has this ever been done before? I don't think so. The scientific possibilities are incredible. We could learn so much about cross-species mental connections. Ben's eyes lit up with excitement. Yes, I'll help. This could be groundbreaking research. Thanks, Ben. But remember, we're doing this to help Zara, not for science. Of course. But if we happen to learn something interesting along the way, that afternoon, Jake met Zara in the station's small park. It was a quiet place with earth plants and a fountain where people could sit and relax. Zara looked better than she had the night before. Her crystal formations were starting to glow again, though they were still dim. I spoke to my brother. She told him, Kex will help us. He is angry about the arranged marriage, too. What about the other Valerian witnesses? Dr. Velnerin and Professor Eichkommel have agreed. They are both scholars who study alien cultures. They think interspecies marriage could be valuable for research. Jake smiled. Funny, that's exactly what Ben said. They spent the next hour planning the ceremony. Zara explained that Valerian weddings were usually elaborate affairs with hundreds of guests, special music, and ceremonies that lasted for days. But the legal minimum was much simpler. We need the formal vows, she said, 3 witnesses from each species, and the bonding ritual itself. What exactly happens during the bonding? We place our hands together and open our minds to each other. For Valerians, this creates a deep mental connection. With humans, it should be much lighter. You might feel my emotions, and I will feel yours. Will it hurt? No. Most humans describe it as warm and pleasant, like having a friend very close by. And this will really stop your family from forcing the other marriage. Zara nodded. Valerian law is very clear. Once I am bonded to another being, no one can force me to bond with someone else. They were interrupted by a commotion near the park entrance. 3 Valerians in expensive robes were walking toward them, and they did not look happy. The one in front was tall and broad, with crystal formations that glowed bright red with anger. That's Dex Morin, Zara whispered, her face going pale. He's early! The 3 Valerians stopped in front of their bench. Dex Morin looked down at Jake with disgust, then spoke to Zara in rapid Valerian. Jake could not understand the words, but the tone was clearly threatening. Zara answered in the same language, her voice shaking but determined. The conversation went back and forth for several minutes, getting louder and more heated. Finally, Dex Morin switched to English. You will not shame our families by associating with this primitive creature. Come with me now, and we will forget this foolishness. I will not, Zara said, standing up. I am a free being, and I choose my own companions. Dex Morin's crystals glowed brighter with rage. You are promised to me. That promise was made when you were a child, and it cannot be broken. We will see about that, Jake said, also standing up. He was much shorter than the Valerian, but he stepped protectively in front of Zara anyway. Vex Moran looked at him like he was an annoying insect. Human, you do not understand the forces you are dealing with. This female belongs to me. If you interfere, there will be consequences. Is that a threat? It is a promise. Jake felt something strange happen. A warm presence touched the edge of his mind, and suddenly he could sense Zara's emotions. Fear? Yes, but also gratitude and something that might have been affection. He realized she was already trying to form a light bond with him, probably to protect herself from next morning. The ceremony is tomorrow, Jake said firmly. After that, your promises won't matter anymore. Dex Moran's eyes narrowed. Tomorrow? Impossible. Valerian bonding ceremonies require weeks of preparation, not for interspecies bonds, Zara said. The law allows for simplified ceremonies when different species are involved. The big Valerian stared at her for a long moment. Jake could see him thinking, probably trying to figure out if she was telling the truth about the law. This is not over, Dex Moran said finally. I will not allow this insult to stand. He turned and walked away, his two companions following. Jake watched him go, then turned to Zara. Are you okay? She nodded, but her hands were still shaking. He is even worse than I remembered. Did you feel it? The way his mind pressed against mine, I felt something, like a cold, heavy presence. That is his psychic signature, cruel and dominating. If he bonds with me, that presence will be in my mind constantly. Jake took her hand. It was surprisingly warm, despite the crystal formations on her knuckles. That's not going to happen. We'll make sure of it. That evening, Jake met with Amy and Ben to go over the final preparations. The ceremony would take place in the multi-faith chapel at 8 in the morning. Jake had arranged for the chapel's sound system to be modified to handle Valerian crystal resonance frequencies. Are you nervous? Amy asked. Terrified, Jake admitted. But not about marrying Zara. About what happens if Dex Moran tries to stop us. Don't worry, Ben said. Security will be there. And from what I've read about Valerian law, once the bonding is complete, he can't touch her. I hope you're right. Jake spent that night in his quarters, thinking about his life. 24 hours ago, he had been a simple scientist studying alien plants. Tomorrow, he would be married to a being from another world, connected to her mind. In ways he could barely imagine. It was crazy. It was dangerous. It was probably the most important thing he would ever do. He was ready. Jake woke up before his alarm clock rang. His stomach felt tight with nerves as he got dressed in his best clothes. He had only one good suit, dark blue with a white shirt. It was not fancy by Earth standards, but it was all he had. He looked at himself in the mirror. In a few hours, he would be married. The thought still seemed impossible. The multi-faith chapel was on level 7 of the station. Jake arrived early to make sure everything was ready. The chapel was a simple room with rows of chairs facing a small platform. Usually it was plain and white, but today it looked different. Ben Parker had worked all night to modify the sound system. Strange crystalline structures now hung from the ceiling, designed to amplify Valerian harmonic frequencies. Amy had arranged 4 extra security guards to stand outside, just in case Dex Moran tried to cause trouble. How are you feeling? Amy asked when she saw him. Like I might throw up, Jake admitted. That's normal for weddings, I think, even weird alien ones. At 7:30, the Valerian witnesses arrived. Kexvatho looked like a younger version of his sister, with bright blue crystal formations and a kind face. Dr. Velneron and Professor Valerians, who moved with the careful dignity of scholars. We are honored to witness this historic moment, Dr. Velneron said to Jake, the first human Valerian bonding ceremony. This will be remembered for generations. I just hope it works, Jake replied. At 5 minutes to 8, Zara arrived. Jake's breath caught in his throat when he saw her. She wore traditional Valerian bonding robes made of shimmering fabric that seemed to change colors as she moved. Her crystal formations were glowing brightly now, creating patterns of light across her face and arms. She looked beautiful and alien, and somehow perfect. You look amazing, Jake said when she reached the platform. Thank you. You look very handsome in your Earth clothes. They took their positions facing each other. The witnesses arranged themselves in a semicircle around them. Jake could feel his heart beating fast as he looked at Zara's face. "Are you ready?" she asked softly. "As ready as I'll ever be." Keck stepped forward to begin the ceremony. As the bride's closest male relative, it was his duty to perform the ritual. He began speaking in High Valyrian, his voice creating harmonics that made the crystal structures overhead sing with beautiful music. Even though Jake could not understand the words, he could feel their power. The sounds seemed to fill the room with energy that made his skin tingle. Zara's crystal formations responded to her brother's voice, glowing brighter and adding their own harmonics to the music. After several minutes of Valyrian ritual, Keck switched to English. "We gather today to witness a new kind of bonding, not just between two people, but between two species. Jake Coleman of Earth and Zara Cathal of Valyria. You have chosen to join your lives and minds in partnership." Jake and Zara had written their own vows the night before. Jake went first, his voice shaking slightly with nerves. "Zara, I promise to protect you from those who would harm you. I promise to respect your mind and your culture. I promise to be your partner and friend for as long as you need me. I offer you my thoughts, my emotions, and my loyalty." Zara's eyes were bright with tears as she spoke her vows. "Jake, I promise to honor your kindness and courage. I promise to share my knowledge and my world with you. I promise to be your faithful partner in this strange new life we are creating together. I offer you my mind, my heart, and my gratitude." "Now comes the bonding," Kex announced. "Place your hands together and open your minds to each other." Jake reached out and took Zara's hands. Her skin was warm and smooth, with small crystal formations on her knuckles that tickled against his palms. He could feel energy flowing through her hands into his. "Close your eyes," Zara whispered. "Let your mind relax. Don't fight what you feel." Jake closed his eyes and tried to calm his racing thoughts. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, he began to sense something new. It was like a gentle warmth spreading through his mind, bringing with it emotions that were not his own. He could feel Zara's relief, so strong it almost overwhelmed him. But there was more. Gratitude, yes, but also a growing fondness. She was beginning to care for him as more than just a rescuer. There was hope, too. Hope for a better future than she had ever imagined. And then he felt something else. A presence at the edge of his awareness, cold and angry and getting stronger. Jake's eyes snapped open. Something's wrong. The chapel doors burst open with a loud bang. Vexmoran strode in with 4 other Valyrians, all of them tall and intimidating. Their crystal formations were glowing bright red with anger, and Jake could feel psychic energy radiating from them like heat from a fire. "Stop this abomination immediately," Vexmoran commanded. Amy stepped forward, her hand on her weapon. "Sir, you need to leave. This is a private ceremony. This is not a ceremony. This is a mockery." Vexmoran's voice was filled with rage. "That female belongs to me. I will not allow her to bond with a primitive human." "The bonding has already begun," Keck said firmly. "Valyrian law protects ceremonies in progress." "Law?" Vexmoran laughed coldly. "I am the law here. I am Lord of the 7th Crystal House. My word is final." Jake could feel Zara's terror through their partial bond. Her fear was so strong it made his own heart race. But he also felt her determination. She would not give up, no matter what Vexmoran threatened. The human authorities recognized this ceremony, Ben Parker said from his position near the altar. "Any interference will be considered an act of aggression." Vexmoran turned his attention to Jake. "Human, you do not understand what you are doing. Valyrian bonding is not a game. The connection between minds can drive weaker species insane." "I'm not weak," Jake said, still holding Zara's hands. "We shall see." Vexmoran raised his hands, and Jake felt a massive psychic force slam into his mind. It was like being hit by a truck made of pure thought. The Valyrian was trying to break the forming bond by overwhelming Jake's consciousness with his own dominant personality. Pain shot through Jake's head as foreign thoughts tried to invade his mind. Images of Vexmoran's previous wives flashed before his eyes. He saw their terror, their desperation, their slow descent into madness as the cruel Valyrian took over their minds completely. But something strange happened. Instead of being overwhelmed, Jake found himself pushing back. The human mind, it seemed, was more resistant to psychic attack than anyone had expected. Where Valerian females had been crushed by Vex Moran's mental assault, Jake's consciousness held firm. More than that, he was protecting Zara too. The partial bond they had formed allowed him to shield her mind with his own, creating a barrier that deflected Vex Moran's attack. Impossible! Vex Moran gasped, his face showing shock for the first time. No one can resist the dominance technique. Apparently humans can, Jake said through gritted teeth. The psychic battle was exhausting, but he was winning. The other Valerians with Vex Moran stepped back in amazement. They had never seen anyone withstand their leader's psychic powers. The bonding is complete, Zara announced, her voice ringing with joy and triumph. I am now bonded to Jake Coleman. Valerian law forbids you from interfering with an established bond. Vex Moran made one final attempt to break their connection, pouring all his psychic energy into a devastating mental attack. But Jake's mind held firm, and the attack bounced harmlessly off his natural defenses. The failed assault left Vex Moran unconscious on the chapel floor. His companions rushed to help him, lifting his still form and carrying him toward the door. This is not over, one of them called back. The High Council will hear of this. As soon as they were gone, Jake collapsed into a chair. The psychic battle had drained all his energy, but he was smiling because he could still feel Zara's presence in his mind, warm and grateful and safe. Are you all right? Amy asked, kneeling beside him. I think so. That was the strangest thing I've ever experienced. Zara sat down next to him and took his hand again. You were incredible. I have never seen anyone resist Valerian psychic domination before. Is that what he was trying to do? Yes, and you not only resisted it, you protected me too. No Valerian has ever been able to do that. Jake looked around the chapel at their friends and witnesses. Everyone was staring at him with amazement and respect. So we're really married now? Yes, we are bonded, Zara confirmed. In Valerian law, that makes us husband and wife. Jake squeezed her hand and felt her happiness flow through their mental connection. What had started as a desperate plan to save her from an arranged marriage had become something much more important. They had proven that humans possessed abilities that even advanced alien species did not understand, and they had found something neither of them had expected to find the beginning of real love. The next morning, Jake woke up with a strange feeling in his head. It was not painful, just different. He could sense Zara's emotions even though she was not in the room with him. She was awake too, and she felt calm and happy. Jake got dressed and walked to the medical bay. Dr. Lisa Chen had asked both him and Zara to come in for tests. She wanted to understand what had happened during the psychic battle with Vex Moran. Good morning, Jake, Dr. Chen said when he arrived. How are you feeling? Different. I can sense things I never could before. And I can feel Zara's emotions, even when she's not around. Fascinating. Zara told me the same thing about sensing your feelings. You're both experiencing something completely new. Dr. Chen ran many tests on Jake. She checked his brainwaves, took blood samples, and scanned his head with various machines. Zara arrived halfway through and went through the same tests. The results are amazing, Dr. Chen said when she finished. The bonding process has changed both of you. Jake, your brain is now producing energy patterns similar to Valerian psychic frequencies. And Zara, your mind is showing human-like creativity patterns. What does that mean? Jake asked. It means you've created something entirely new, a hybrid mental connection that combines human and Valerian abilities. Jake, you can now sense electromagnetic fields like Valerians do. And Zara, you're gaining access to human-style creative thinking. Zara's crystal formations glowed brighter with excitement. This could change everything. No one has ever successfully combined different species' mental abilities before. Over the next few days, Jake and Zara began working together in his laboratory. The results were incredible. Zara's engineering knowledge combined with Jake's biological expertise led to amazing discoveries. They figured out how to make biomechanical interfaces that could connect directly to a person's nervous system. These devices could help paralyzed people walk again, or allow humans to control computers with their thoughts. "Look at this," Zara said, showing Jake a design on her computer screen. "Your knowledge of human biology helped me understand how to make the interface gentle enough for human use. My original design would have been too harsh. And your engineering skills are teaching me things about energy flow that I never understood before," Jake replied. "We make a good team, but their happiness did not last long." 3 days after the wedding, bad news arrived. Captain Roy Martinez from Station Security came to find them in Jake's lab. "We've got a problem," he said, his face serious. "The Valerian High Council has declared your marriage illegal. They're sending a military squadron to take Zara back to their homeworld." Jake felt Zara's terror through their bond. The fear was so strong it made his hands shake. "They can't do that," Jake said. "The marriage was legal under both human and Valerian law. They're claiming that humans are too primitive for true Valerian bonding. They say the ceremony was a fake, but we have witnesses, and the bond is real." Captain Martinez nodded. "I know, but they have bigger ships and more weapons than we do. The squadron will arrive in 2 days." That evening, Jake and Zara sat in the station's observation deck, looking out at the stars. Through the large windows, they could see the gas giant below them and its many moons. It was beautiful, but Jake could not enjoy the view. He was too worried about what would happen when the Valerian warships arrived. "I'm sorry," Zara said quietly. "This is my fault. I should never have asked you to marry me. Now you're in danger because of me." "Don't say that! We did the right thing, and we're learning so much together. The work we're doing could help millions of people, but if they take me away, the work will never be finished." Jake took her hand. "They're not taking you anywhere. We'll figure something out." Through their mental bond, Jake could feel Zara's doubt. She did not believe they could fight off an entire Valerian military squadron. To be honest, neither did he, but he was not going to give up without trying. The next day, word about their situation spread throughout the station. Jake was surprised by how many people came to offer support. Humans, Centaurians, Andromedans, and even some Valerians said they would help protect Zara. Dr. Velnarin, one of the Valerian scholars who had witnessed their wedding, came to see them in the afternoon. "The High Council is making a mistake," she told him. "Your bonding has created something valuable. The combination of human and Valerian mental abilities could benefit both our species." "Then why are they trying to stop it?" Jake asked. "Because they are afraid. For thousands of years, Valerians have believed we are superior to all other species. Your ability to resist psychic domination challenges that belief, so this is about more than just our marriage. Much more. You have proven that humans have abilities we do not understand. Some Valerians see this as a threat to our position in the galaxy." That night, Jake had trouble sleeping. He kept thinking about what Dr. Velnarin had said. Through his bond with Zara, he could feel that she was awake too, worrying about the same things. Around midnight, Jake felt something else through the bond. Zara was not just worried. She was planning something. He got up and went to find her. Was in the engineering section, working at a computer terminal. Blueprints and technical diagrams covered the screen. "What are you doing?" Jake asked. "Working on modifications to the station's defense systems. If we're going to fight, we need every advantage we can get." Jake looked at the complex diagrams. "Will it work? Your knowledge of electromagnetic fields has given me new ideas. I think I can modify the shield generators to disrupt Valerian psychic abilities. It won't stop their ships, but it might protect people's minds. That's brilliant! But Zara, you shouldn't be doing this alone. Let me help." They worked together through the night. Jake's understanding of biological systems helped Zara design shields that would protect human minds without causing harm. Her engineering expertise showed Jake how to apply electromagnetic theory in ways he had never imagined. By morning, they had created something amazing. The modified shields would not only protect the station from physical attack, but also prevent Valerian psychic manipulation of the people inside. "We need to show this to Captain Martinez," Jake said. They found the captain in the command center. looking tired and worried. When they explained their modifications, his face lit up with hope. "This could work," he said after studying their plans. "But we'll need time to install the modifications, and the Valerian squadron arrives in 6 hours. "Then we better get started," Zara said. The next few hours were the busiest of Jake's life. Engineers from all over the station worked to install the new shield modifications. Jake and Zara moved from section to section, helping solve problems and making adjustments. Amy Rodriguez coordinated the security teams, making sure everyone knew their positions when the Valerians arrived. Ben Parker helped modify the station's communication systems to work with the new shields. "Whatever happens," Amy told Jake during a brief break, "I want you to know I'm proud of you. You've brought people together in a way I've never seen before." "This isn't over yet," Jake replied. "I know, but look around. Humans, Valerians, Centaurians, everyone working together. A week ago, that would have been impossible." Jake looked around the command center. Amy was right. Species that usually kept to themselves were now cooperating to protect Zara and defend the principle that love could cross the boundaries between worlds. Not an hour before the Valerian squadron was scheduled to arrive, the shield modifications were complete. Jake and Zara stood together in the command center, watching the long-range sensors. "Whatever happens," Zara said through their mental bond, "I want you to know that marrying you was the best decision I ever made." "Same here," Jake replied. "And this isn't goodbye. We're going to get through this together." The sensors began beeping. 5 Valerian warships had just dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. They were heading straight for Meridian Prime. The real test was about to begin. The 5 Valerian warships looked like massive crystals floating in space. Each one was 3 times larger than the research station, with weapons that could destroy Meridian Prime in minutes. Captain Martinez watched them approach on the main screen, his jaw tight with worry. "Incoming transmission," Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez announced from her console. "Put it through," the captain ordered. The screen filled with the image of a Valerian military commander. His crystal formations were decorated with symbols of rank, and his eyes were cold as ice. Jake recognized a family resemblance immediately. This had to be related to Dex Morin. "I am Commander Dex Corin of the Valerian Defense Fleet," the alien said in perfect English. "You are harboring a fugitive from Valerian justice. Surrender the female Zarakathal immediately, and no harm will come to your station." Captain Martinez stepped forward. "Commander, Zarakathal is legally married to a human citizen. She has committed no crime. The so-called marriage is invalid. Humans are too primitive for true Valerian bonding. The female will be returned to her proper place." Jake felt anger burning in his chest. Through his bond with Zara, he could sense her fear, but also her determination not to give up. He stepped into view of the camera. "Commander, with respect, you're wrong about humans. We successfully bonded 3 days ago. Your own brother tried to break that bond and failed." Dex Corin's eyes narrowed when he saw Jake. "You are the human who humiliated my family. Your resistance to our psychic abilities was a fluke. It will not happen again." "Maybe we should test that theory," Jake said. The commander's crystal formations glowed red with anger. "You dare challenge me? Very well, human. Let us see how well you resist the combined power of 5 Valerian psychic warriors." The transmission ended immediately. Jake felt a massive mental assault begin. It was much stronger than what Dex Morin had tried during the wedding. 5 powerful Valerian minds were working together to crush his consciousness and break his bond with Zara. Pain shot through Jake's head as foreign thoughts tried to invade his mind. But something amazing happened. The modified shields that he and Zara had designed began to work. All around the station, Jake could sense other minds joining his defense. Amy Rodriguez was there, her human stubbornness adding strength to his mental barriers. Ben Parker's scientific curiosity created new pathways of resistance. Dr. Chen's medical knowledge helped heal the damage from the psychic attacks. But it was not just humans helping him. The Valerian scholars Dr. Velneron and Professor Eithkomel added their psychic energy to Jake's defense. Two Centaurian traders who lived on the station contributed their own unique mental patterns. Even an Andromedon mystic who rarely spoke to anyone joined the growing network of minds. "This is impossible," Commander Thexcoran's voice echoed across the psychic battleground. "No single being can resist 5 Valerian psychic warriors." "I'm not a single being anymore," Jake replied, his voice carrying across both the communication channels and the mental link. "I'm connected to everyone on this station. Humans, Valerians, Centaurians, Andromedans, we're all standing together." Through the multi-species psychic network, Jake could feel each person's unique contribution. Humans brought emotional strength and creativity. Valerians added focused mental discipline. Centaurians provided logical problem-solving abilities. The Andromedon mystic contributed deep wisdom about consciousness itself. The combined psychic energy was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen before. Instead of one species dominating others, different kinds of minds were working as equals, each adding their own special abilities to create something greater than the sum of its parts. Commander Thexcoran experienced this network directly through the psychic connection. For the first time in his life, he felt human emotions and thoughts. He sensed Jake's protective love for Zara, Amy's loyalty to her friends, Ben's wonder at new discoveries, and the hope of dozens of other beings who believed in the possibility of peace between species. The psychic assault faltered and stopped. On the bridge of his warship, Commander Thexcoran staggered backward, his crystal formations flickering with confusion instead of anger. "Sir," one of his officers asked, "should we open fire on the station?" The commander was quiet for a long moment. Through the fading psychic connection, he had experienced something that challenged everything he believed about Valerian superiority. These primitive humans and their alien friends had not only resisted his attack, they had shown him a completely different way of thinking about relationships between species. "No," he said finally, "hold position." On Meridian Prime, Jake collapsed into a chair, exhausted from the mental battle. But he was smiling because he could still feel the network of minds around him. The psychic connections formed during the defense were not breaking apart. Humans and aliens were choosing to stay linked, sharing thoughts and emotions in ways that had never been possible before. "Jake, are you all right?" Zara asked, kneeling beside him. "Better than all right. Did you feel that? All those different minds working together. It was beautiful," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I never imagined such cooperation was possible." Captain Martinez was talking to Commander Thexcoran again. The Valerian military leader looked different now, less angry, more thoughtful. "Captain," the commander said, "I need to speak with the human Jake Coleman and the female Zara Cathal." Jake and Zara moved to stand in front of the camera. Commander Thexcoran studied them both for a long moment before speaking. "What I experienced through the psychic link was ... unexpected. You have shown me that the relationship between our species could be different than I believed." "Different how?" Zara asked. "I felt human emotions, human thoughts. They are not primitive as we were taught. They are simply different. And when combined with Valerian abilities and other species' talents, they create something remarkable." Jake nodded. "That's what we've been trying to show people. Each species has something valuable to contribute. We're stronger when we work together than when we try to dominate each other." The commander was quiet again, clearly thinking hard about what he had experienced. Finally, he spoke. "The High Council ordered me to retrieve you, Zara Cathal, and to punish those who helped you. But after what I have felt today, I cannot follow those orders." "What will you do?" Captain Martinez asked. "I will return to the High Council and tell them what I have learned. That humans and other species are not subjects to be controlled, but potential partners to be respected. The old ways of thinking must change." Over the following weeks, word of what happened at Meridian Prime spread. Throughout the galaxy, the story of a human and Valerian who created a new kind of mental bond inspired others to try similar partnerships. Scientists from different species began working together in ways that had never been attempted before. Jake and Zara became ambassadors for this new kind of cooperation. Their marriage, which had started as a desperate attempt to escape an arranged wedding, became a symbol of hope for peaceful relationships between all intelligent species. They established the Institute for Interspecies Cooperation on Meridian Prime, The Institute became a place where beings from different worlds could come to learn about each other and work together on projects that benefited everyone. Do you ever regret it? Jake asked Zara one evening as they watched the sunset through their apartment window. Giving up your old life for this crazy adventure? Zara smiled and took his hand. Through their mental bond, he could feel her happiness and contentment. Never, she said. You saved me from a terrible fate. But more than that, you showed me what real partnership means. We didn't just get married, we started a revolution. A peaceful revolution, Jake added. The best kind. They sat together watching the stars, their minds gently connected, planning new projects that would bring the galaxy's many species closer together. What had begun with a desperate plea for help had become the foundation for a new era of understanding and cooperation among the stars. And at the center of it all was a simple truth that Jake and Zara had discovered, that love and respect could bridge any gap, even the vast distances between worlds.